This is TWiT.
So, among many other crashes in this world today, we now have, I think it's a crypto crash. I think it was last month, Jeff, or a couple of months ago, I was talking about Sam Bankman-Fried and saying, this kid's amazing. You know, came out of Stanford. He's at the time, I think he was worth $6 billion. Not anymore. You may have seen FTX ads during sporting events. They're all over Formula One. They bailed out a number of collapsing crypto exchanges. Sam said, here's some money. Stay solvent. Whew. Now it's not so good. They shut down withdrawals, which implies that they probably couldn't cover it. Sam said they had several $1 billion of withdrawals in just a week as crypto starts to go down. Binance, as you said, was considering bailing FTX out. But the latest, Glenn, they're not going to do it.
Yeah, it happened pretty fast. But is it a surprise? I mean, it's very nice when you're on the Titanic and it's sinking. Or I should say, it's very nice when you're on a bunch of small boats and it's sinking and the Titanic comes by and offers to let you come aboard, but you know where that's going. And that's kind of what was happening with BTX. Like, let's take the lifeboats on board the ship that's going down. Yeah, it just seems problematic. I mean, he did seem, I've been reading some stuff today about Sam, and I think he was the friendly face, the happy, friendly face, the person who seemed to be doing the right thing, the responsible person in the room, the person pushing regulation, all these things. And so if his exchange, or at least the non-U.S. part of it, I guess, which is the majority, crashes and burns, and I don't know what happens next. And Binance is, I don't want, there's so many specifics you can't get into because you're like, everything is so fuzzy about them, and they deny things that seem to be true, and they make statements that are hard to verify. The founder there, CZ, likes to say that they don't really exist in any country, so they're not subject to regulation, and yet they have offices in certain countries. So the two leading exchanges in the world that are essentially establishing liquidity for cryptocurrency, one could be about to completely implode, and the other has chosen now, after saying it would support it, not to. And I've already, we've seen Lehman Brothers discussion has come up quite a lot, but you remember Lehman Brothers didn't go down; it was bailed out, and the global financial system didn't melt down. Well, there's nobody who really wants to pick up the pieces, wants to be left as the last hot potato holder as it cools and freezes.
Sam was the rescuer back in the spring of Robinhood. Robinhood was illiquid. Sam came in, said, here's some money, bought a 7.6% stake. Now Robinhood, based on Sam's problems, is crashing. Its shares plummeted 15%. This is funny because this story from the street says as FTX was acquired to save it from collapsing.
Oh my gosh.
Now that we know it's not going to be acquired, I wonder what's happening to a lot of...
Can I ask my dumb question of the moment now?
Yes.
So when you give a bank money, they're free to use that while it's there and loan it out to other people. And just as long as they have enough of that money in reserve that when you come to get it, you can get it, and it's preserved by the federal government. So
we don't have your money, Mr. Potter. We've invested it in Joe there, his farm, and we all learned this in It's a Wonderful Life, Jeff.
So,
go on.
But now, when it comes to cryptocurrency, you have
banks have to maintain a percentage of liquidity.
Yes.
Right.
I'm just setting that up as a setup. We all know this. However, in cryptocurrency, you own what you own, and nobody else can get access to it except you. So how is it that they can't cover the withdrawals because they don't have access to the currency? I don't get that.
So
part.
This is a great distinction I saw made. I think it was Matt Levine in his excellent Bloomberg newsletter. So I'm quoting somebody from memory here, but it's basically that Coinbase, they have money they hold in trust for you in your wallet. So in the wallet, so
custodial wallet they call it.
It's custodial, and so they have like $100-something billion in assets and $100-something billion in debt or whatever, or not debt, but like outstanding money they owe to their people who've invested in or put the money in there, right? So I'm saying that very badly, but it's pretty much balanced, and they make money on fees. Yeah, they make money on fees, commission, fees and going in and out. Where the whole issue with FTX is that, and a lot of these exchanges, all the exchanges were they take your Bitcoin into them and then they borrow money or buy Bitcoin based on the value of those holdings they have. So when they don't actually possess them or they don't have that direct access to them, so they can't just give them back to you and they can't give you the money for them. Because it is that it's in Joe's house and Bill's house. FTX is it's leveraging the assets that it holds for other people, just as it would if it were a bank.
Right. So when I take
but it's more complicated, and I think this intentionally more complicated because there's also this Alameda, which is the exchange that Sam Bankman-Fried set up,
right,
which is I think holding, but then Alameda collapsed. So Alameda was their, I think, right? Was it their
it primarily holds the coin, right? There's an FTX coin, and if the coin collapsed in value, then what are they can't redeem it against, they can't exchange it for other like values. So they lost, they had to hand out cash to people, and the cash was backed by the value of a thing that declined in its
FTX token, which is FTT.
Yeah, FTT. So it's it's kind of like it's like a run on, it's like the English pound breaking or something like that. Yeah. It's like a different currency broke, and you're like, well, I got to pay out dollars. All I got are pounds, but the pound just broke. So what do I do?
Sam was worth $97 billion in January. He is well under $1 billion right now.
It's very sad.
It's a lot of money to lose, but the problem partly is, and he always said, let's get regulated. It's not regulated. Although the SEC is now investigating. According to Bloomberg, Sam Bankman-Fried's FTX empire faces U.S. probe into client funds and lending. The SEC and the CFTC will scrutinize the relationship between FTX.com and FTX.
This is the thing. I've been saying this for years, and my late father-in-law spent, I think, about 6 years from like 2002 to 2008 saying the housing market is a bubble. It's going to collapse at any minute, and he was eventually proven absolutely right. But for years, people were like, "Yeah, Steve, right? And he bet against it, and he won." Now, I have no investment in crypto for or against or anything. All my money's in a mattress holdings. Those are, they're declining. They're declining
pretty fast right now. Yeah, but not as fast as. By the way, Bitcoin lost 20% this week. So your mattress holdings are doing better.
Oh, they're looking pretty good.
Yeah.
But so I've been saying liquidity is the issue all along because there is no actual liquidity. Your liquidity is based on being the bigger or the lesser fool, right? Is that you're hoping the exchanges, because they're not central banks, they cannot have enough money to float the. When they said that Bitcoin and other currencies were worth $3 trillion together at the peak, I thought is an illusory value, not just because it seems too high and there's no intrinsic worth in it, but it's also because you could not liquidate even a tiny percentage of that. And exactly what happened is when there was a run on one small part of the market because of all the cross unregulated leverage that was going on, you did have runs on exchanges and billions of dollars in cash flowed out. Things collapsed, and you saw the market shrink, the value, shrink by like 60, 80% over a matter of weeks. Now we're seeing it drop 20%. The exchanges cannot provide liquidity. There's fewer exchanges. Those exchanges are threatened and they have less and less money. There is no route out where suddenly there's more fiat currency that can be in those exchanges without this massive increase in confidence that isn't going to come with these kinds of.
This was all leveraged. Happening. It was like like the mortgage crisis, right? It was a giant pool of money. It was leveraged. And that was supposed to be the promise of cryptocurrency, right? Was that it was a secure thing. We know better, but I'm just saying the argument's made were that you control it and only you have the key. And if you can't remember your password, you're screwed. But, it's still yours.
I confess I made, I think, $100 in crypto in early 2021 when I was writing a book about it. I bought a little bit and then I sold it all. And I was like, oh, damn it, I made money off this. So I had to report it. I pay tax. I've made $100 on cryptocurrency
and paid
minus 40%.
40%, exactly. I mean, it's great investment strategy, Glenn.
Don't miss All About Android every week. We talk about the latest news, hardware, apps, and now all the developer-y goodness happening in the Android ecosystem. I'm Jason Howell, also joined by Ron Richards, Florence Ion, and our newest co-host on the panel, Wen Tu Dao, who brings her developer chops. Really great stuff. We also invite people from all over the Android ecosystem to talk about this mobile platform we love so much. Join us every Tuesday, All About Android on TWiT.tv.